Hello all, time for another episode of how to do stuff at Frick Park Clay Courts. So today what we're going to look at is how to deal with masses and masses of leaves. The other video was mostly centered on small debris and things like that, and we were able to use the wheelbarrow. But for this number of leaves, which I'll show you in a second, you're going to need a different technique. So first of all, let's take a look and see exactly what's going on out there. As you can see, nothing as far but leaves as far as the eye can see. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gather up the equipment and go through it real quick, and then I'll show you some of the basics of what to do from this point on. The first thing you'll need to find is the leaf tarp. It's usually with the equipment in the middle of the courts. Sometimes it's near the green box, but other times it will be by one of the gates. You just kind of have to look around a little bit for it. It's not always in the same spot. The second thing you'll need is the plastic tine rake. It is usually, again, in the center equipment pile. Sometimes it could be in the green box. Sometimes it could be in the clubhouse. You just kind of have to look around for it too. The last thing you'll need to get is one of the court cleaners that's in it as a net. They're the best for removing leaves. They're all over the place, but when you do get one, you will need to clean it out and make it ready for your use. So a couple of points about leaf moving. Number one, we want to try to leave as much material on the court as possible. You're going to scoop some up, you're going to move it around, but we want to keep it off of the tarp. There's some techniques for doing that. One that I like to use is to pile up the leaves and then turn the rake upside down so those tines are pointing up and kind of brush the leaves onto the tarp. I'll show you how that works. Secondly, you really should have a pair of work gloves. Like these. They're cheap and they'll save you from blisters and anything else, nails and other crazy stuff. It's a glass, whatever else is in here. That's very helpful. The other thing is you should try to use the wind to your advantage. Right now the wind is blowing from the park side to the baseball side. So I'm going to try to put you'll see me, I'm going to load this up. I'm going to try to get downwind of the pile of leaves and then scoop that way and then use the wind as opposed to trying to go backwards, which never helps. So the last thing is let's take a look what I did here. Let's see what we got. You'll see that what we have is a series of piles that are long and at least reasonably thick. I'm going to drag the tarp next to these and then load them up. So I'm just going to let this run. I'm not sure how much juice I have left, but I'm going to let it run and I'll show you what I'm doing. The wind is blowing that way, so I'm going to try to shovel the leaves into the wind. upside down. Brush lightly through the leaves. You might need to rearrange the load a little bit on top of the tarp, which is okay. And now we have a full tarp of leaves to dispose of. Okay, once you get kind of a full load, you're going to look, there's a ripped end of the tarp and there's a clean end of the tarp. You want to kind of start with the ripped end of the tarp, because if you use the ripped end of the tarp to trail, it'll get caught on rocks and such, whereas if you have it in your hand, it won't do that. So I'm basically just going to drag it out the fence and dump it over the hill. I'll keep the camera running for at least a little bit. There are times when you're doing this kind of stuff though, as you're going along, you're picking up incredible piles worth of dirt, particularly on the interiors of the court where there's a lot of leaves. And in that case, you're going to have to probably sift before you shove, so to speak. So here I'm going to use that technique and take a couple piles of leaves that have a lot of dirt in them, put them on the sifting metal, mostly just to get the dirt out, and then take the resulting leaves and stick them into the leaf tarp. So something I'm going to engage in now is what I call retail leaf removal, which is onesie, twosie, small numbers. We've been doing kind of masses with the mat and everything else. Here's where this guy comes in. You get it all cleaned off, and we're gonna scrape it from one side to the other, not like you're cleaning the cord, but just the idea is just pick up the leaves and deposit them to one side, and then we can go and clean them up and remove them later. So let me go do that. Make sure the wood side is up. This works better with the oak leaves as opposed to the ginkgo leaves, but it does still work. Shake it out when you get to the end and then come back over and do the next task. A little sloppy, so I'll do it again. It's definitely not perfect, but it's better than trying to rake all the time.